Okay, hey everybody, this is Robert Alaniz and this is Johnny B. You remember this guy. And he's been begging me to be back on the show. So I said, okay, John, okay. You know, he's getting all this fan mail and stuff. He's getting pictures, you know, women are sending him pictures in their underwear. It's really disgusting. This is the 44th anniversary of Elvis Presley's passing. So we just decided we wanted to talk about Elvis Week in general and kind of talk about a little bit about the history of it as far as we're concerned. Maybe a little history of how it all started for both me and John. Of course, we've been Elvis fans our entire life, and to this day we still, you know, buy all his music and records, and we do a lot of talking about Elvis, and we appreciate Elvis as an artist, as a man, as a person. So we kind of shy away from all that other glitter and glamour stuff, you know, the stuff with the Elvis impersonators and all that kind of stuff. That stuff never really appealed to me in the past, and I know that doesn't appeal to you as either. No, not particularly. So let's talk a little bit about Elvis Week. Let's talk about memories of how it was. You came on board around the 20th anniversary. Yes. And I had already had the show going. And I can't remember what we called it back then. I think it was called, was it Elvis for Everyone? Or was it called Elvis Con by then? No, it was Elvis Con. Elvis Con, yes. Elvis Con. Okay, so tell everybody how that was. You know, I had never been to the Elvis Week before. I heard the show. I knew that was going on down there, but I had nobody to go down with, you know. So we started, I came down on the 20th. It was, and it's hard to believe that's like 24 years already now, isn't it? Yeah. That's 20. So it was exciting. I mean, it was great. I mean, as an Elvis fan, you know, there was two big shows. Remember, there was another big show across at the Airport Inn, too, right next door to us. There was that show, too. So there were two huge shows on the 20th. Yes. Yeah. And so, you know, as a collector, it was great. I mean, to see so many records, you know, tons of dealers and all, you know, to see so many albums and records and everything to be able to buy and everything was great. I mean, I had never seen anything like that before. So, it just started the Portage show. I had seen that's how I met you at the Portage in Indiana at the Elvis at Fantasy Fest. Fantasy Fest. So it was great. I mean, I loved it. I mean, I loved everything about. I had been to Memphis once before with my brother and my sister-in-law, but we didn't go during Elvis Week. We just went and took the tour of the house and all of that. But it was great. I loved it. I mean, it was different. And again, it was different. To me, it had a different feel than what it does today. When I was doing a record show in Chicago, okay, which is still going on, believe it or not, same show, except by a different promoter. So the promoter at the time had said, hey, I know you're an Elvis fan. Have you ever been to Memphis during Elvis Week? And I said, no. And he says, well, you should come down there. You know, you should come down and check it out and this and that. I remember going down there and we set up at this hotel called the Magnum Inn, which was across from the Holiday Inn on Brooks Road. And I'd never been in a Elvis show before. Yeah. And when I walked in that door, I walked in and I thought that I had died and gone to Elvis heaven because I had never seen so many Elvis records in my life. And this was before CDs. This was just records. And I mean, there were records, there was memorabilia. I remember one wall, someone had stolen one of those big gigantic tarps from the International Hotel. Well, you know, the big blue ones with Elvis in the jumpsuit and a big kind of fancy design. And someone had stole it and was selling it, and it was up on the wall. And back then, you probably could have bought it for like $400, you know. Now it's like $4,000, you know. But yeah, it was like that. Was that how it was for you? Yeah, because I had just, like I said, I had never seen anything like that. Yeah, but I enjoyed meeting the people too. Hey, what's the word? What's happening back here? Elvis. Elvis. Are we making money? Elvis is making a lot of money, yeah. Good. We met such great people. It was just from all around the world. Around the world. From Australia and France and Germany and England, that was the nice part too, that, you know, we all came together for this week, you know, just because of our love of Elvis, you know, to see how you realize how big Elvis was.
when you see at that, especially on the 20th. I mean, God, that was huge. Like the 25th and the 30th. I mean, to see all these people, thousands and thousands of people, just because of this man who was the singer. It's like, holy mackerel. You sometimes you think like I'm the only one who likes Elvis. I listen to, but you don't realize the impact of Elvis till you go to Elvis Week.
I was never aware how big Elvis was in other countries. We would go down there and we would set up, and Japanese people, fans from Japan would come through, and they would come and look at my stuff, and they would they'd want to buy stuff, but they couldn't speak English. So we had to have like a translator, and sometimes we just did sign language. And the Japanese were incredible big fans of Elvis. I mean, crazy.
Big buyers, like,
and big buyers too. Yeah. But then you could always tell by the quality of their records too. I mean, Elvis records from Japan are probably some of the best records ever pressed. They had the top of the technology back then. So I don't know if they were 180 gram back then, maybe not that thick, but they were certainly on the same level as the mobile fidelity, wouldn't you say?
Yeah. Like plus the covers were all different.
Yeah.
The covers were a lot of the covers were different, covers than the American albums, or they had more unique, albums and stuff like that.
Or the variations.
The variations
they would take our cover, the U.S. cover, and they'd do a variation.
And they were gatefolds. Many of them were like the FTDs. They were gatefolds, like the FTDs.
And
now.
Sometimes they had posters.
Yeah, and they had posters and inserts. Some of ours did too, the American, but the movie soundtracks. But still,
Yeah, they had a lot of great stuff, and we met people from Sweden, from France. And
England, George and Helen from England.
George and Helen from England. Yes.
And from Australia. Remember the couple from us, John, and I can't remember. Sorry, his wife.
John. He called her the Colonel.
Yeah, from Australia. I mean, I think they flew all the way from Australia to come to Memphis.
Didn't we see them on the very last?
Yeah,
show we did?
They come every 5 years now. They said.
I think on the
they'll probably be there
40th.
next. They'll probably be there next year on the 45th.
Yeah,
which is hard to believe it's coming up the 40. But but. Like I said, it was great. I enjoyed, like I said, the first 10, 12, 13 years I really enjoyed. It's changed since, it's changed a lot now with the new complex and the new...
Yeah, and before we get into that, to talk a little bit more about how great it was. I mean, I know a lot of people watching this, younger people don't realize how great it was as an Elvis fan to be in Memphis. Yeah. I mean, you could actually go to the Days Inn, which was a little motel kind of place next to where we were always set up, which was the Ramada Inn, then the Clarion, then it changed so many names. But at that Days Inn, you could go there at night, and there were people selling out of their rooms. I mean, just selling all kinds of stuff. There were fan clubs selling fan club stuff. There were some people who made Elvis stuff and were selling their stuff, like Elvis potteries or Elvis, towels or whatever. And there would be other people that would just bring stuff who didn't want to do shows, but because they enjoyed the nightlife, and they would just sell out of their rooms. And then you could go there, and at any night, at the pool, you'd be sitting over there, and who's over at the pool? Oh, there's Sonny West, DJ Fontana, and somebody else, other famous Elvis person, sitting over by the pool getting drunk singing Elvis songs. And
people decorated their rooms too. Remember, they had the glass windows, and they put posters up so you knew they were sellers because they had everything in their windows, and it was great.
They didn't just have to be sellers. I think
they just decorated. They had lights. They had Christmas, like a Christmas light.
They had a contest, a window contest.
Yeah, who had the best decorations?
Whoever had the best decorations. Yeah. And then they would have an Elvis party, at the pool. It was a pool party. And you would go there every like towards the candlelight. I think it was either the night before or whatever. And you could go there for that. And it was so much fun because you had, you go to the shows and you have all of that, and you go, and of course you want to, as a dealer, you want to make money, but you meet people and you make friends. And how about the times in the hotel at night? Like we would go out for dinner and we come back, and here's fan clubs all from other countries.
The Clarion. Then there was the Clarion.
At the Clarion.
It was the Clarion.
And they're all singing Elvis songs, like around a campfire.
Getting drunk and singing Elvis songs and talking about Elvis and everyone's memories, and it was great.
There was a guy there, I can't remember what country he was from, but every year he came, all we did was talk about the worst Elvis songs.
We even talked to Sonny out there. Remember, Sonny sat around one night in the Clarion with us. Yep. Sonny West was there, and and if you asked him anything, he told you the truth. That was it. Anything you wanted to ask, you could ask him, and he would tell you. So even Sonny was a guest there in there, just hanging out there. It was great. I mean, we didn't, after we moved to the Peabody, I loved the Peabody, the room and everything, but we missed that. We didn't have that at the Peabody, remember? Yeah. There wasn't as many people that stayed at the Peabody. So was it, the Clarion, everyone who was staying at the Clarion at that time was an Elvis fan. They were there. Yeah. So they stayed there. So,
there were Elvis fans at the Peabody.
At the Peabody, there were Elvis,
but they were people with money.
Yeah, but we didn't gather like we did at the Clarion and sing songs. It wasn't the same feel.
But you remember the crazy thing about going to the Peabody, now that you brought it up, and moving there. We were actually forced to do that because the hotel had sold out, or the people that were there had sold to some woman with a Chihuahua. Who was a millionaire from California who bought the hotel. Yeah. And next thing I know, nobody knew who I was. Nobody understood what I was talking about when I was saying, well, we're doing a show. These are the dates. You have my deposit. You have money. I mean, we lost money because when they changed hands, they kept my deposit, and so we said, you know what, the hell with this. We're going to the Peabody. And that put us in the best show that has ever been in Memphis, Tennessee. And folks, I'm going to brag again, but this is the truth. And he can testify to this. I know I said it before by myself on the show, but on the 30th anniversary, we had a show at the Peabody in there. They had a room called the Tennessee Exhibit Hall, and it was huge. I mean, this place was so big you could have a car show inside. Okay, when Graceland heard about it, all of a sudden, mysteriously, they had a show over at the Fed Express
Forum. Yeah,
Forum.
They had some deals.
That was kind of odd. It's like, gee, why are they doing that? Well, they're copying what we were doing. Obviously, they did that a lot. As a matter of fact, when we had auctions, we had the first. Yes, folks, we did. The Collecting the King show had the first set of auctions.
Here we are. Another chance at some sunglasses. Elvis Presley's Tiger Man from 1974. 9,000 for these shades. 9,000 now 9,500. 9,000 now to that. 9.5 here now 10,000. 9.5 go 10. 9.5 95.
And then all of a sudden, like 2 years later, because the auction was such a success, Graceland is having auctions now. They acknowledged our existence for quite a while because remember the book. I would contact a woman at Graceland and tell them, okay, our show is here and here, and she would go, okay, give me all the dates, and then they would put it in the Graceland guide. So we were actually in the guide.
For a while.
For a while.
For a couple of years.
And then all of a sudden,
they took us out.
They decided,
we're too big.
We don't want you in there. And I think it happened not too long after that big 30th anniversary thing, because it was huge. I mean, folks, we had well over 1,000 people come through as a total, maybe more than that. And we had celebrities. Go ahead, name them.
Well, we had everybody who was anybody that.
Everybody
signed autograph. DJ Fontana was there, right. And Sonny West, Joe Esposito,
Dick Grobe.
Dick Grobe. I think there were. I don't know if they were formally, but they were in. I think wasn't there a couple of actresses. I can't remember their names. Several were. We had guests. We were big.
we were big. Everybody knew about the show.
Listen, the biggest compliment we ever got was Al DeVoren. Al DeVoren came in. And he came up to you and me, shook our hands, said, "You guys know how to promote his show." That was coming from the king of the promoters, Al DeVoren himself, who said, "You guys do a great job. You know how to put on a show."
We worked really hard promoting that show, and we wanted. I mean, our goal was to have an Elvis convention as big as Beatle Fest. That was always my main objective, was to take this little show that we had at the Ramada Inn and build it and build it and build it until we could get it to the point where we were Beatle Fest. And then everybody would talk about Elvis Fest the same way as Beatle Fest. And I think when we got to the 30th anniversary, we hit that goal. We hit that point where if everybody had stuck together and all the dealers had united and then said, okay, we're going to make this thing work, and no matter what, we could have taken that to another level each time. But, we gave it our best shot, and it didn't happen.
Well,
what can you do?
We just couldn't get everybody on board, unfortunately, but we still had great shows. It was a great time. eBay, I think, changed a lot too. In those earlier days, it wasn't as effective.
Yeah.
Then eBay came into existence, and I think then we started noticing that a lot of the buyer and people weren't showing up. They weren't coming to Graceland in the summer during Elvis Week to buy, because they could stay at home. And they could buy stuff off of eBay. They didn't have to come to the shows.
The human factor started falling apart in Memphis when people started saying, "Hey, I could just get it at home."
Yeah.
Because the great part about Memphis was the people, and having that camaraderie and being able to bargain and barter with people and have a good time. You can't get that at home on eBay.
No, you don't have that personal contact.
But when eBay started up, there was incredibly valuable Elvis stuff going for $10. And once people got hooked, then eBay then just completely took over. Every time you use eBay, you're taking a chance. Yeah. Unless you know the person.
Because you don't know if it's fake.
And you don't know if it's fake.
You don't know the fake stuff. On eBay, you're handicapped with that.
I won't sell garbage or junk or fake counterfeit stuff. That's just not me. I always was against that, and you know that firsthand from the guy that caused you to buy all that Vaseline.
Yeah. Yeah, the big jar of Vaseline. You can never forget that. But I'm not a big fan of the new Graceland. Maybe some younger people are. I don't like. I think it's it's corporate. It's as John Wayne would say, it's a bunch of college boys and college girls that are now running it. They're not Elvis fans. They're not. I understand they have to watch. It's bottom line. They got to watch what they take in. They got to watch what they put out. But to me, it's cold. Even the new complex. In some ways, it's nice that it's all together. But yet it's cold in there. It just doesn't have the same as walking where the shops were on the old EP Boulevard, and they were free. I'm sorry, I don't think you should have to pay $49 to go shop. Okay, if you want to go buy an FTD CD now, you have to pay $10 or $15 to park, then pay $49 to get in, and pay all that to get a $30 CD.
That's the big thing, is that I don't think they remember what made Elvis Elvis.
Yeah,
the records. It's the records,
the music,
folks.
And the music.
It's the music that made Elvis Presley.
It was
the records. It was his performances. It was videos or whatever. That's Elvis Presley, not Elvis thumbtacks and Elvis underwear. That's not Elvis.
Yeah.
Elvis was a person, and it was his music that made everything work. Well, a lot of people go to Graceland, and FTD, who's been doing a great job of making new Elvis records and Elvis CDs and everything, and we got some big stuff coming up eventually. And
the full tour is like $180 or something for the VIP tour. Yeah. It's not cheap.
And not only that, but what about that? When we were down there, remember they had just opened the back area. Remember, I just call them the warehouse. We went back there, and of course, in the old days, the fans would go and they would all had the singing thing. Remember where the people would get up, you could sing Elvis
outside. But I missed the tent.
Yeah,
right by the shops.
I was not thrilled about that tent because a lot of people can't sing.
Yeah,
okay?
well, but it was still the fans.
It was still a celebration of Elvis.
You felt
and his music.
You felt the warmth of Elvis,
right.
And his. That's all gone now. Again, that's the other thing I miss. You don't have that now at the new Graceland. Here's my idea. What they should have done. I said it before. They should have built a motel instead of a hotel like that in the 60s, like in Girl Happy. They should have had more of a theme of Elvis for the fans. That's what they should have built. They didn't need to build that big monstrosity hotel that nobody can afford to stay at. I think they were trying to compete with the Peabody or maybe conventions and get people like that. But to me, it's cold. I don't like it. I'm sorry. I know they say change is progress and all that, but I like the simplicity of the way it was.
This was predicted a long time ago and I can't remember whether it was Sonny or one of the Elvis people that we knew. It could have even been John Wilkinson. I can't remember, but somebody was foreseeing it. Somebody was saying, this is the beginning of the end of Elvis Week and of Elvis's the fun. the notoriety about Elvis Week, because once all of this other stuff takes over, it becomes a this conglomerate of business-like things that take place where the corporations take over and they say, well, we know what's best for Elvis fans and we know what's best. They wouldn't listen to Elvis fans if Elvis fans went up and kicked him in the head.
It's just cold.
They don't care about Elvis fans.
They care about the bottom line.
Yeah,
that's what they have to care about.
If they were smart, what they would do is they would adjust their money as far as how much things cost and get more people. More people would come if there was less, if it costs less. Especially get rid of that stupid price for admission, or take the stuff that you're selling in there and put it outside where a person can go and get it. Because I like the albums too and the CDs.
Yeah, and you got to. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Why am I pay $50 to go in and buy them? I mean, they're expensive enough as it is. $30 a CD, $50 an album.
I just don't. Again, I know some people will maybe say, oh, you guys are, we're old, but we're old school. Old, that's.
I'm old school,
and the old school was better. I saw Elvis in concert for $12.50. And there wasn't even tax on that ticket. And then they wanted to, remember the year when they really ticked off a lot of people, they charged for the vigil. They wanted $30. They wanted $30 on the night of the vigil from everybody to go up. I'm thinking, you saw Elvis live for $12.50 or $15. You got to pay $30 to go see him dead. I mean, that ticked off. They listen. We talked to fans and said, I talked to fans. Remember, we talked to fans and said, we're never coming back. We don't like it. And we're not coming back.
You almost go back because you're wishing and hoping that you could catch a glimmer of that. Something of how it used to be.
It was the simple things. I loved sitting on the bench that ran, the stores were there in EP Boulevard. And I loved sitting on the bench in a summer and just looking at Graceland and thinking about, it would just remind me of as a youth, growing up, becoming an Elvis fan when I was like 8 years old. That's part of the thing I loved about going to Graceland. It was just remembering the past and when you first became an Elvis fan and everything. To me, a lot of that's just gone.
We know the Spa guy, well, we don't know the Spa guy, but he's gotten a lot of popularity because, he does all these Elvis-related things.
I like a lot of his work.
The stories that we could tell him, I mean, I know he does a lot of interviews with people, but boy, I'll tell you, Mr. Spa guy, if you want to hear some stories,
he doesn't know.
Let me know because we can tell you some stories.
He doesn't know our history. That's the thing.
Make sure you stop in and say hello, and also visit the other dealers in that room as well. I want to remind everybody that tomorrow our special guest from 1 o'clock until 6 o'clock will be Sonny West. So if you're interested in coming to see Sonny, he will be here signing autographs from 1 o'clock until 6 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. To wrap things up, August 15th, Joe Esposito, DJ Fontana, and Darwin Lamb will also be here from 4 o'clock until 6 o'clock.
I mean, when it came to the shows, we had phenomenal shows and a lot of great publicity. We had TV coverage, radio coverage. We had movie stars coming in the show. We had famous recording artists coming in the show.
The media coming in.
The media, the Travel Channel.
Yeah, the Travel Channel came into our show.
There were,
local Memphis TV station and stuff came in.
Right, and again, we were very close with a lot of the people that knew Elvis. Joe Esposito and his family are from Chicago. And those of you who know who he is, of course, he was involved with Elvis. They met in the Army, and then he went to work for Elvis, and they became the best of friends, and they were friends all the way through the time he passed away. And Graceland had this, their very first auction in Las Vegas at the MGM Grand, and I can't remember what year, it was in the 90s. We're at the auction. It was the day before the auction, and they had this showroom, all right? And I can't remember what happened. So Carol is behind the camera. She's going to help me remember. But I remember you and I, we went into the room. You paid and you got this book, and they wanted Carol to buy a book too. And I said no. I said I don't want to pay for that. So as I'm standing there, all of a sudden I hear somebody behind me say, "Hey, Bob, how's it going?" And I said, "Oh." I turn around and it's Joe Esposito. And I say, "Hey, Joe, how's it going?" He goes, good. He said, I didn't know you were going to come. And I said, "Yeah, well, we weren't sure if we were going to make it or not, And he said, "Well, it's good to see you." He says, "Are you going in?" And I says, "Well, we're trying to go in, but, they want me to buy this book or whatever, blah, blah, blah." And Joe walked right up to the table and said, "He's with us." And that was it. It was over. I mean, we didn't have to pay for anything. We just walked right in the place with Joe Esposito. So it was pretty cool. Any stories from famous people?
You know, we're sitting at a table with John Wilkinson. The stories that he told us, which we can't many of them.
We can't repeat any of them.
Because I don't know whether they're true or not.
You know,
I felt bad because we went out to dinner, but we were firing questions. I don't think he had time to eat hardly because we kept asking him questions.
I love the story he told. This is one story we can tell. Remember how he said that Elvis contacted him?
Oh yeah.
He said that he was playing in a small club in California, I think, and he said that Elvis had come to the place and seen him, and then he got a phone call, and he said he hung up on him. He said he didn't. He says, "This is Elvis." Yeah, this is Elvis. I want to talk to you about, maybe playing with me or performing with me. He goes, yeah, sure.
I think it was years. That was in the 60s.
It was the 60s, yeah.
It was many years later when John hooked up with him. But that was like I always went to like a small club in L.A. or something.
Yes, yeah. And you know this, if we actually told the stories or repeated some of the stuff he told us that happened with Elvis and other people, we could do our own book.
Yeah.
And it would sell millions.
It was just great. I mean,
it would be a million seller. We'll call it Dinner with John Wilkinson.
Yeah. Mark James came into our show. Who wrote
Yes.
Suspicious Mind came into our show one time, and Roddy McDowell and DJ Thomas. The 20th was amazing. The 25th and the 30th were amazing. I never saw so many people in all my life. I worked the door, so let me tell you, it was busy.
Yeah,
it was busy.
That's right.
I can't tell you how many hands I stamped and the money that was and everything at the door. It was amazing.
And of course your main complaint, remember, was you go to Beatlefest, folks, it's $25. Yeah. It was $25 to get in to Beatlefest. Ours was $2, and they would chew him out. For $2. $2? I'm not going to pay $2. I'd rather pay $49 and walk through a bunch of warehouses and get FTDs.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
I'm thinking, these people complain about $3. What are you complaining about today?
Let's talk about the future. Okay, we covered the past and and the present. So what is your opinion about where is this all going to end? Where is this going?
The love for Elvis by the fans will never die. Graceland, I don't know how much they've ticked off people. I don't know. I keep saying it's over after the 50th. I give it 6 more years. Next year's the 45th. Let's see what happens. It'll be very interesting to see what happens after the 50th anniversary.
I think that maybe what's going to happen is the Elvis fans will go, the true fans will be gone, and the parents or grandparents, are the kids of those fans, grandkids or kids, will then remember Elvis because their mom and dad or grandparents loved Elvis, but they will never experience Elvis Presley like we did. When I think of Elvis, he brings a smile to my face. He makes me feel good. His music always made me feel good. I never felt bad. Elvis, even though the songs he was singing weren't necessarily the best, there was something about the way he sang them or the way he performed that brought a joy to people, that made people happy. And I know he does for me. I mean, to this day, if I get depressed, and Lord knows in 2020 I got pretty depressed, I listened to Elvis, and Elvis would always bring me out of that funk.
My love of Elvis will never go. I'll always, like I said, I'm a disciple, and that's it. I'll always be a disciple of the King.
I would say for Graceland, get all of the stuff that we want to buy out of your $50 admission area and put it in that first place right by where we pay for the admission. And let us go in there. If we want to buy records and stuff like that, let us buy the records that made Elvis the King. And let it be free to buy that stuff. If your record sales and CD sales are down, I'll tell you why. Because you're charging everybody $50 to buy them.
I don't think Elvis would like his fans. I'm going to use the word. I don't think Elvis would like his fans being raped. And that's what's happening here. Okay?
Elvis would be pissed because he would. He would not approve of this at all.
You don't have to be a big Elvis fan. Every American should go to Graceland. It's a great tour. You don't have to be a big, huge Elvis fan. It's very interesting, and you feel the impact. Because I always tell people, let's say you're a Beatles fan. Well, there would be no Beatles if it wasn't for Elvis. So you go to Graceland and pay your respects to Elvis. You know, there's something in music that somebody out there loves that wouldn't be if it wasn't for Elvis and his impact on music. So it's a great tour. I have nothing, I'm not down on Memphis and the tour and everything and Graceland and all that. It's just that certain things should be.
They need to make some adjustments. So, folks, that is our Elvis rant for the Collecting the King show with Johnny B and myself. I guess we'll continue to get back into this. I finished my movie, by the way. It's called Honest to God. But the movie's done, so that means more Collecting the King shows. And we're happy to be back. And I don't know about seeing you, but I'm glad to see them.
I'm big now, I'm becoming Elvis. Come on.
Next thing you know, you're going to have your own show.
I have my own show for you.
The Elvis Disciple.
I'm going to get my own show.
I'll be the producer. You can be the star. All right?
Yeah.
All right.
Bye, everybody.